a set of data. I know that I have a cell phone number of somebody who's actively in foreclosure, right? This is factual. All of you have it if you've done the monster correctly. You've got people who've turned you down, and you've got cell phone numbers to people who are actively in foreclosure, right? But you haven't done anything with it. Instead of sly broadcasting and doing a casual follow up, because they don't know what they've gotten, you don't know what they've gotten in the mail. But instead of dropping them a message saying, hey, this is Lee. I'm just following up with the information about your alternative to foreclosure and loan modifications. Give me a call if you have any questions. That's a generic message. Don't ask anybody for me to repeat that. You guys, I get the whole scripting thing. I do. I really do. I really, 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 really do. I get why you guys want that and want to write it down and do that. You've got to find your voice. The quicker you find your voice, the quicker you'll get a listing. And that's reality. So I get one set of data out of the monster that way. I get face to face, right? That's a different set of data. In that group, I need to go and bond and create a relationship. I am not a likable person. Many of you know this. Many of you have met me. If you've not, at the next event coming up in February, you will find out. David has a long line. Diana has a long line. Even Kevin has a long line. All of the speakers have a long line. 2 or 3 people come and speak to me. It's not because I'm not looking for you guys to come over and speak to me and shake my hand and take a photo with me or whatever it is when I do the events. It's obvious that I put it out there that I am not a people person. I'm uncomfortable in those situations. Wade wrote, you could be worse. Wade, you don't know me in 2007 when I was worse. Like nobody came. The only reason people came up to me in the early days was to invest in Short Sale Genius at all. Like nobody came to meet me afterwards. Nobody. Like unless you were purchasing the Monster Market. I take that back. The Short Sale Genius system back in 2007. There was no reason for you to meet me after the event. And that's kind of the reality. I go and see a guy like Joel Bauer, and the room wants to take a photo. They want to meet with him. They want to be on his email list. Like really good salespeople. I'm not a really good salesperson. I am the worst person to sell my own system. That's reality. I am my own worst. Like I'm watching Fred Solomon right now sell a system basically online in an investor group far better than I would have responded. I would have already have just dropped the webinar and said, watch the webinar, do it. Doesn't matter how many testimonials I have. Like I have every imaginable insane testimonial on the planet. Nobody can make you likable and trustable. The reason you're in this business, if you've done a transaction, it's because you're relatable, trustable, and likable. It has nothing to do with expertise. Expertise wears off. There is a very big broker in the San Gabriel Valley by the name of Marty Rodriguez. She fakes likable and trustable, but she is a grumpy old lady. She listens to this. Good for her. I don't think it's suable to call somebody a grumpy old lady. People who know her would say she's a grumpy old lady. But she had expertise and she knew the area and she had branding. It wore off. She's not the player anymore. I mean, she still does a lot of transactions. I wouldn't mind having, her money, but it only works for so long. You have to find your inner voice. I don't want to get very Tony Robbins here. Be congruent to who you are when it comes to conversion, which is why we give you very specific scripts and very specific packages in the Monster Marketing Program, because until you find your own way of saying something, much like Kevin, we told him he got the exact same one-on-one that all of you got, right? My brother-in-law got the exact same one-on-one that all of you got. But it wasn't until he went on a lot of appointments where it became a repetitive model. What broke my heart was recently I found out that he started to look for the home runs. He's not listening. Diana's not listening. It's not going to filter its way back. But it made me really, really sad. Really sad, because I'm a data guy. That was something that I thought was being handled on a regular basis. He was only focusing on the people that look like they were ready to convert, or that they were in a position to convert. Really, David says that this webinar is not on. This webinar is on. We are. I don't know why it says David can't join in. That's very weird, right? You guys are all still here, right? Or am I just crazy talking to myself like a madman? Thank you, Richard. Okay, just checking. Did that make sense? That's a long answer to your question, but I wanted to give you guys some content. So to answer the question, I look at every layer of the data, Mr. Love. I layer it out. I look at each layer. The way that I run my business now, any data you give me, any data I get my hands on, I don't care if it's a California brokers list. Everybody gets specific data to their, thank you, Hannah, for raising your hand. Everybody gets specific data to what they are. Does that make sense? So I just assume tag everything and let the monster sort it out. That's what it's really good for. And I'll get face-to-face appointments, and I'll find people that are ready to list immediately. But I'll mostly find people that are just trying to find a way to keep their house, and then when they fail, they're going to need somebody to help them with the next phase of their life and sell their house and get them into a new position. All of the people we have worked with this year have wound up becoming friends of our family. We've created relationships with all of them. There you go. Give more detail about things of value from John Sloan. Things of value. Okay, so when you're talking about layers of marketing, right? I don't care I'm going to talk like a marketing guy, John, if that makes sense. I'm going to just talk about this from a marketing standpoint. So there are, in my opinion, 3 permission-based ways of contacting a person. 3. And I'll cover them all. Doesn't matter if they are a person who has who is in default. It doesn't matter if they're a 50-year-old guy who's into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It doesn't matter if it's somebody who's a gamer. It doesn't matter if it's whatever your hobby is. Your algorithm has been captured and your email has been captured for what you're into. And guys like me that are digital marketers know that. So we capture that information. So if you reasonably look at the monster, all it is a filter system that actually gets face-to-face. Ultimately, face-to-face is the best way to sell, period, right? The whole goal is face-to-face, create the relationship, and bond. That's what you're really looking for with the monster. That's what you're looking for with an expired. It's what you're looking for with a canceled, probate, divorce, any of the data sources, right? You're looking to go meet, have a relationship, and ultimately bond with them so you're top of mind, they like you, you're trustable. If they have a question or they need your help to list their house, or they see no other alternative but to sell their house, they hire you. There are 3 permission-based ways of contacting a human being that they will find non-interrupty. One is to leave a voicemail. One is to send an email. And one is to do monster marketing. I don't know any other direct marketing that is permission-based. I don't. It's why I invented it. There's nothing like monster marketing. The idea that I heard the first time, which gave me kind of an idea and the direction into it wasn't even permission-based. It was kind of like sniper-based. Text is not, David Huro. I can tell you this firsthand. Texting people will piss off people more than you can humanly imagine. Now, I believe you could text somebody after you've met with them face-to-face, and that makes it personal. But if I don't know you and you text me, it's going to be an immediate stop. You can buy phone number lists for bulk texting. And I'm sure some of you have gotten, because you're in real estate, you've gotten bulk texts. They're irritating. They have the highest opt-out rate of anything that I've ever seen. Like, it's shocking how high the opt-out rate is. All I've done is spend a lot of money on bulk texting. Now, if you've met somebody and you've created a relationship, texting is a bonding tool that works like a face-to-face. So take it for what it's worth if we're talking permission-based and interruption marketing, right? From an interruption standpoint, I don't know you and you're going to text me out of the blue. Is that going to make me like you anymore? I'll tell you what my first question is going to be. How'd you get my information? Want to know the first thing that's said when you cold call somebody? I mean, legit, just cold call? It will come up on the conversation. How'd you get my information? Especially with defaulted people. Why are you calling me? That's why they don't work. Sorry, I'm busy. Can't talk right now. Why are you texting me? Thinking your own personal life, what irritates you. And that's people interrupting the flow of what you're doing on a daily basis. David can't get on. Weird. You guys all got on. I got on. And we have one of the largest rooms we've ever had. How bizarre is that? Okay, so the first is Monster. I think Monster Marketing is the only direct marketing solution for getting face-to-face. That's why I'm able to guarantee face-to-face. It's the bottom line with that situation. It's based on data. It's based on a great marketing piece. It's based on a great script and approach to, you're whittling down the herd to find people that are in a position to sell right now. It makes you a specialist. I know this term gets used a lot in real estate, right? Positioning yourself like a doctor or a lawyer. But the doctors and lawyers who make the most money are those that are specialists. You become a specialist in the default field, I guarantee it will feed your family for years to come. Like, that's just a reality. It's not going to go away. It only goes up and it only goes down. And I can safely tell you this, having looked at data for 30 years, people don't pay. There are people who don't pay. And people who don't pay, don't pay. Doesn't matter if you modify them. Doesn't matter if you give them forbearance agreements. People who don't pay, don't pay. That's why you don't rent back after you foreclose on people, because they won't pay. You'll be doing the eviction anyway, so you might as well just get it done the first time and not rent back. People who don't pay, don't pay. That's just there. That's why I don't chase 30, 60, 90-day delinquency data. That's just, troublesome, people who don't care about their credit. When you are actively in default, 91 days or greater, right? 91 days, 5 p.m., notice of default, list pendants, whatever term you want to use. That data is golden. It is almost a guarantee that 80% of that group, right, is not going to continue to make payments. I'm not saying they're not going to stretch it out for a year. I'm not even going to say they're not going to stretch it out for a day. People who don't pay, don't pay. They might get their crap together and they might pay for a period of time, but you never know exactly how it's going to wind up being. So you have to look at every single, that's the reason I showed you that screen. Every single byte of data on that screen in regards to the person has value. They came up, they were somehow related to the wonderful world of default. Therefore, it is a special piece of data. So when you're talking about giving things a value, John, it's specific to the list. Am I meeting with people who are a notice of default or a notice of sale? And have I met with them? That's a different follow-up. If I haven't met with them, there's somebody who turned me down, I'm going to go with a generic sly broadcast, right? Let them decide to call me. Makes it permission-based. Email. I'm 50-50 on email because email tends to sometimes be interruption and spammy-based, and the percentages get real low. But the fact that it's just so cheap to send email makes it more reasonable than mail. But it is one-off. There's a reason why it's still used. It does get results. Mail gets results. It's just not cost-effective as compared to email. So look at the individual data. Just think of what does somebody, don't try to be clever, right? I'm running 4 different lists right now. I got people who turn me down. I've got people, and I mean this in my entire email database right now. Right next to my big bad list of realtors that are still